Game 4 of the Warriors and Lakers matchup. Pretty crazy game. It was a close game practically the entire way through, with obviously the Lakers pulling out the victory at the very end. But I just wanted to see, what are your thoughts on the game?
So let's focus in on the fourth quarter because I feel like it was a very back and forth game for the first three quarters.
Yep.
Um, so for the Lakers, um, amazing defense, first off, from Shooter to Walker to especially AD and LeBron. So amazing defense first. Um, they forced the Warriors to make a lot of bad turnovers towards the end.
Yep.
And they're for the most part they're very poised in the half court as well. Especially Walker and Reeves. Um, in terms of the Warriors, basically the five last possessions for the Warriors, Steph, Draymond, and Clay made mistakes in all five possessions. Right. So it was Steph making a fadeaway three over AD about at around 30 feet away from the basket. Sorry, prior to that, Draymond actually got a offensive rebound off a Steph miss shot. He had Shooter on him underneath the basket. He just passed it out. He didn't even look at the basket to score. That's when you should just put the ball back up when you have a guard on you, right? So that's Draymond's first mistake. Steph, that three over AD.
Great defense by AD in that position.
Yeah. And then the next play for the Warriors, Draymond with the turnover, and then Steph. Well, not turnover. It was it was a turnover. AD got the ball, then it was a jump ball, and then Steph got the jump ball, and then he threw the ball away. And for Clay, before the Steph 30-footer, Clay he shot a three over a double team on the left wing. That was not a good shot either. So that was just five straight possessions by the Warriors core three players that pretty much cost them the game. But the Lakers played a great defensive game. They made timely shots.
Huge timely, like a lot of time.
LeBron was very poised. He played the point for most of the game, especially in the second half. But man, like it was basically Lonnie Walker saved the Lakers because they were struggling to score late.
Yeah,
They're really struggling to
both
score late.
teams to some degree were starting to just hit a ton of bricks,
Yeah,
and Walker was the only player at that time who hit anything.
yeah. So, yeah. What were your thoughts?
Um, you know, it was an overall fantastic game by both sides, even though it was kind of messy, sloppy play from both sides yeah, here and there throughout the game. But overall, like it was it was a crazy game. I don't know what else to say. It was just both teams were kind of made a ton of mistakes as well. Both in terms of the turnovers, the Lakers had a decent amount. I believe they had 14 turnovers, and then the Warriors had 16 turnovers, which is a decent amount of turnovers for both teams. But I think the timeliness of the turnovers made the biggest difference, really, realistically. Um, I think one big factor outside of Lonnie Walker is just AD having a good game in back-to-back games. Also played a key role in the Lakers win, just because he's been inconsistent throughout these playoffs so far. Literally being good every other game. Like he'll play really well one game, like score over 30 points, and then the next game he scores like 10 or like 15, or actually more like 15 points, which
Yeah,
you'd expect more out of a star player.
yeah,
And then in addition to that, I think the Lakers had great production outside of those guys as well. Like Reeves started to finally score more points in this series. I know he's been kind of struggling against the Warriors in this series specifically. He had a great game. And then I'm trying to think who else played. Well, I mean, everyone just played good defense. Like as you mentioned earlier, everyone stepped up on defense, and ultimately that got them the win over the Warriors. I think the Warriors had good moments. I remember, Wiggins hitting shots. Clay hit a big shot towards the end. Curry had a triple double. He pretty much did everything he could to will his team to win.
He was the only one that scored over 20 points.
Yeah,
on his team.
I mean, because everyone else was like they didn't. I mean, every player on the Warriors had their moments. So GP2 had his moments. Wiggins had his moments. Clay had his moments. Even Draymond had his moments, but obviously it wasn't good enough to beat the Lakers tonight. And yeah, here's to see what happens in the rest of the series. I think both of us did pick the Warriors to win in 7. And I also assumed that the Warriors would have won tonight. But now that they're down 3-1, I wouldn't say it's impossible. I think the Warriors do have the firepower to come back and beat the Warriors. I'm sorry, beat the Lakers. But it's just very unlikely given how well the Lakers have been able to kind of withstand the Warriors' barrage of threes.
Yeah. Aside from the late game mistakes, like on a much more broader scheme, the Warriors lost this game for 2 reasons, really. One was the amount of fouls, right? Yeah. So 22 fouls. The Lakers were 20 for 20 at the free throw line.
Just
right. So just a lot of fouls, just a ton of bad fouls. And 2, Steph couldn't get much help, but especially from the bench and especially from Jordan Poole. Played 10 minutes, missed 4 shots, had 2 turnovers, had a foul. Like literally almost anything that you can do almost anything that you can do negatively to impact a game, he did in 10 minutes. It was pretty
yeah.
It was pretty hard to watch, to be quite frank. And I think for the Warriors in general, and I haven't really seen this in a while, but they were not poised late in the game. Like they were just rushing everything, and that's I mean when you're rushing, that leads to bad shots and that leads to like turnovers, right? When you're pressing so hard, right? So it's very different than how they play against the Kings when towards the end of the game they weren't pressing. They were in their sets. Whatever play that was called, they ran it, they executed well. But for whatever reason, the last handful of possessions against the Lakers, they were just pressing and rushing, and it just led to mistake after mistake after mistake.
Right. But so I would argue for the Warriors and why they did that. I think they were trying to set the tone because I think at the end of the day, the Lakers are a better half court team. I mean, their team is built to be more of a half court offense, and so whenever the Lakers get the ball, you don't see them rush because the half court game is more their style of play, right?
Yeah.
And so they want to set the tone, they want to slow the game down, and that's why the Lakers were able to establish their tone.
Yep.
The game in their playing. Let's set the tone for the Warriors to play in their speed versus the Warriors. Fast-paced offense.
Yeah. Question for you. Are you surprised that Looney only played 11 minutes?
He's still technically sick, if I'm not mistaken.
So he played the backup center role the entire game. So basically, like whenever Green subbed out, he subbed in, and that's literally all his minutes were.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's just not 100%, and I think that's why the Warriors kind of held him back. Should he have played more minutes? Probably. That's it. I think he'll stand a better chance against AD than anyone else on the team, to be honest. So there's that. But I mean, to be fair, I think the Warriors did get some decent contribution. Poole did hurt them a lot. But I mean, I think Moody played fairly well for the time that he was in, minus the fouls. And then DiVincenzo, I think, played fairly well when he was on the court as well for just under 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You had a great game. It's just, it's tough because of it's tough. I mean, he just didn't hit timely shots. It was a back and forth game. I think Klay Thompson also being really inefficient tonight hurt them a lot. With 9 points, playing 41 minutes, he's 3 for 11.
I feel like I understand the logic in terms of why Kerr doesn't play Looney against the Lakers because Draymond plays pretty good defense against AD.
Right.
And the best defender that they have against the Lakers for LeBron is probably Wiggins. But my thing with AD, or starting the AD with Looney is having Looney in there will make AD work and will tire AD out. Because even towards the end of this game, you saw how tired AD was getting. Like he was usually the last one across half court. And Looney could have definitely, battled him underneath, get AD a little extra energy, and then he probably would have missed a couple of shots. That's just my thought process on why Looney should play more. I understand the need for spacing for the Warriors, and because when they have more spacing, their offense it makes it easier for the offense to like flow. But for me personally, I feel like Looney should play more minutes, especially when LeBron is off the floor. When LeBron is off the floor and it's only AD in there, I feel like you should have Looney in there in some way or fashion, personally.
I mean, that makes sense. I see your point. Yeah, I know, because Looney's physicality would have might have affected AD in terms of his shooting, because I know he made a couple of tough jumpers in the post, so it might have affected a few shots there. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to say because the Lakers did have the momentum towards the end when everyone was kind of hitting tough shots. I remember Reeves hitting tough shots as well. So
yeah,
and obviously Lonnie Walker hitting most of his shots.
yeah,
regardless of what was happening. Yeah.
yep. So how do you see this series ending?
With this, with the Warriors losing, I see them. I'm actually gonna have to change my mind and pick the Lakers in 6. It's probably the most likely scenario, just because I know the Warriors are a great home team. Coming back to Chase to play Game 5, I don't see them losing that. And then I would presume the Lakers are probably going to win Game 6 in LA.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Warriors will win Game 5 and Lakers will win Game 6. Having said that, it wouldn't be a total shock for the Warriors to come back in 7. We've seen them do it before against OKC all those years ago. Having said that, their team in 2016 is a lot better than the team they have right now.
Yeah, and they're also a lot older.
Yeah. So, we'll see. I mean, I actually think that Game 5 will be a blowout for the Warriors, and then Game 6 will also be a blowout for the Lakers.
It's kind of like the Grizzlies series,
more or less, yeah.
Like the Lakers Grizzlies series, because I still think the Kings that was Game 6, but the Kings and Warriors Game 6, that was still relatively competitive.
Yeah.
Throughout, it's just the Kings were able to eke a win. And then same with Game 5, I believe, in Sacramento, where it was pretty close, and then the Warriors pulled away.